Hoy lectura en inglés, ya que encontré por allí por la casa un libro muy lindo de anécdotas de jazz, exagerando un poco la dicción, sin acento porque no sé, me gustaría hacer acento británico, por ejemplo, me encantaría, pero no sé hacerlo. Lo que sí puedo ejercitar, aunque sea mecánicamente, cosa que me va a servir también para poder hablar en castellano o italiano, es exagerar al máximo la parte mecánica de la boca, el sonido, etc. Chapter 12. Arrangers and Arrangements. Early jazz musicians found their own notes and harmony lines by listening and remembering. And this tradition continues. Tradition. This tradition continues to the present day. But when bands began to get bigger, the ones that could afford it hired arrangers to help organize the music. Imaginative arrangers accounted for the success of many bands and were highly prized, though not always well paid. Como ahora. Duke Ellington added Lawrence Brown to his band before he had written anything for him to play. There were no third trombone parts, so I had to sort of compose my own parts. Then, as the new numbers came out, they started arranging for the third trombone. All bands at that time were mostly ear bands. Ear. Ear como es año. Year. Y oreja es ear. Ear. Then, as the new numbers came out, they started arranging for the third trombone. All bands at that time were mostly ear bands. Whatever you heard, you'd pick up a place to fit in, a part to fit in. Whatever you heard was missing, that's where you were. When Bill Berry joined Duke, he wasn't sure what to play. I had a library of music. It must have been 6 inches thick, but none of it was titled or numbered, and we didn't play any of it anyway. I know that sounds fantastic, but it's the truth. You can ask anyone who was ever in there, and they'll tell you there wasn't any music. Since he had nothing to play, Bill just sat there. Duke told him, "Put your horn in your mouth. Dress up the bandstand whether you've got anything to play or not." Bill asked Cat Anderson what he should play on the end of one number. Cat told him. Siempre he pensado que el inglés tiene demasiadas consonantes que por ser frenadoras, no sale, por disrupción, ¿no? Disruptir la fluidez del habla y de la lectura. La gente que habla en inglés se salta muchas de las consonantes. En el lado opuesto está el italiano, idioma en el cual las palabras contienen consonantes solo como objeto mecánico para disparar una vocal, lo cual para mí tiene mucho sentido. A, E, I, O, U, disparadas de diferente manera, y eso es el idioma. Nunca una palabra va a terminar con una consonante, lo cual hace que sea absolutamente natural. Hablo del italiano. El inglés, en cambio, no solo tiene muchas consonantes, sino que además las palabras muchas terminan en consonantes, y aún más, creo que la mayoría de las palabras. Si uno tuviese que leerlas todas, las consonantes, sería algo así. Since he had nothing to play, Bill just sat there. Duke told him, "Put your horn in your mouth. Dress up the bandstand whether you've got anything to play or not." Bill asked Cat Anderson what he should play on the end of one number. Cat told him. So obviously no one reads or speaks like this, but that is the way. Ese es el modo en el cual uno debería hablar si quiere pronunciar todo. Normalmente, aun cuando yo no hablo inglés de manera nativa, podría leer esto solo del siguiente modo. O solo en una manera en la cual las consonantes están pasadas por alto. Since he had nothing to play, Bill just sat there. Duke told him, put your horn in your mouth, dress up the bandstand, whether you've got anything to play or not. Bill asked Cat Anderson what he should play on the end of one number. Cat told him, pick a note that sounds wrong and play. For example, play, play, play. We are very used to speak English, so, understanding the context, for example, pick a note that sounds wrong and play. Because we are talking about a note, we say play, understanding that we don't say play, we say play it. The difference between play and play is very, very small, and I don't think it's worth for a language to use consonants, because in the end they are disruptive, and I don't think they are well designed. Instead, let's try the Italian. Sei sempre spietato con te stesso? Molti non si rendono neppure conto. Sempre c'è un finale con una vocal al final. Nunca se hace disruptivo. Todo es corriente, vocales disparadas con etc. Così è stato detto loro di trattarsi da bambini e il bambino del passato. Tutto fluito. Invece, although Charlie played tenor, all the time he was with the band, it sounded like he was still playing alto, because he'd always have an alto style. Now Earl had two tremendous books, a society book and a book for regular gigs, one-nighters. Charlie used to sit on this book with... Bueno, no sé si esto sirve de algo. Intentaré leer en inglés, impostando un poco la voz. $14 a day sounded real great. Nobody bothered to tell me I have to travel 500 to 600 miles on a hot or cold Ragely ass. Blue Goose bus, that is, would cost me $2 or $3 a night for a room. That, by the time I was also having my hair fixed and gowns pressed. Gowns, batas. Gowns. To say nothing of paying for pretty clothes to wear, I'd end up with about $1.50 a day. Out of that, I had to eat and drink and send home some loot to Mom. Loot. Botín.
Loot.
It may mean a little bit of money for the mother. Whenever I had a couple of bucks, it was always so little I was ashamed to send it home. So I would give it to Lester Young to invest. I hoped he could shoot enough dice to parlay it into a bill big enough I didn't have to feel ashamed to send home. The first time out, we had been riding for 3 months, and neither Leicester nor I had a time. Both of us were actually hungry. Jimmy, rushing the blues singing Mr. 5x5, was always the only one who had any loot. We went to him once and asked him, real nice, for $1 to buy a couple of hamburgers. He wouldn't give us nothing but a lecture on how we saved his money and how we petered ours anyway. Petered may mean something like we spend money for nothing important or something like this. Derrochar. When we were on the bus coming back to New York from West Virginia, I couldn't stand the thought of coming home to Mom broke. I had $4 when that crap game started on the bus floor. You're not shooting this for, I told Lester. I'm shooting this myself. I got on my knees, and the first time up, it was a 7. Everybody hollered at me that the bus had swerved and made me shoot it over. Up came 11. I picked up the $4 right there and won the next 3 pots before someone said something about comfort. I thought they said, "What do you come for?" I said, I come for any damn thing you came for. You come for. I didn't know the lingo, but I knew Lester did. So I told him I'd do the shooting and he could be the lookout man. I was on my knees in the bottom of that bus from West Virginia to New York, a few hundred miles, and about 12 hours when we pulled up in front of the Usai hotel. Everybody was broke and crying. I was filthy, dirty, and had holes in the knees of my stockings, but I had $1,600 and some change. I gave some of the cats in the band enough to eat with and for car fare, but not rushing. I didn't give him back a dime. I took what was left and split up down to Mom's. When I walked in, she looked at me and like to die. I was so dirty and beat up. I just waited for her to say something, and she did. I'll bet you ain't got a dime either, Mom said. I took that money, over $1,000, and threw it on the floor. She studied a lot of it. She salted a lot of it away, and later it became the nest egg she used to start her own little restaurant. Mom Holidays, something she always wanted. So the guy, I assume it was a usual situation, got paid very poorly. Not only him, but the rest of them. They were destroyed physically, not mentally, but physically, even dirty, as he put it. And they gamble or something like that. And that's, he felt like embarrassed to send what could have been the real payment, which was very, very little. And so he won a gamble. The rest of the band accused him to be lucky because they said that the bus sort of moved and the dice arrived to a place he didn't mean for the dice to be. And then he was very lucky and won a lot of money. That's what I understood from this story. The thing that he doesn't say, but is obvious, is that he didn't say to his mom that he gambled. The mom would continue to believe that he earned that money playing music. And that's the story. It's a minimum strong story. There is a word also in Spanish, mugre, dirty, dirtiness, that I like using metaphorically. Meaning that, people that go through uncomfortable manners and they, like animals, express their music, or even not in the arts, but in life. Like, yeah, you lack some dirtiness. I sometimes think when someone complains about something that I could never complain, not me or any other person in my age or earlier, that kind of dirtiness, I like the word to use. That kind of dirtiness, I like the word dirtiness to use for, to, about, on, up. So, dirtiness was good for art. It's like collecting vital, real experience, dirty experience. Not because dirtiness, in that sense, was good itself as a meaning, but it gave artists, in this case, jazz musicians, it could have been flamenco musicians as well, enough experience for them to, after, express matter more than, I suppose, people that didn't really get into dirtiness in life experience. It's also, and this is something that has been said as well, that dirty people, or consider that a person like a rock star, let's say, had a dirty life. Amy Winehouse, yeah, she was a drunk, depressed, that died in overdose. That makes it very romantic. It gives a very desirable sense of dirtiness and strong personal meaning. That's not the right word, but a personal force that allowed her, in this case, Amy Winehouse, it could have been Kurt Cobain or whoever, for them to express on stage. And that is something that many times has been catalogued as too romantic, in the sense that, I don't know in what sense,